whether you were going to heaven or hell based on your wealth. And if you were going to hell, you were poor, and if you were going to heaven, you were rich. So that's where the idea of the Protestant work ethic comes from, is because the only way to get to heaven is to be wealthy, you as a Protestant need to work hard to make that money. And I think, one of the ironies of that is that probably a huge portion of the US population is Puritan in its thinking today. And so or Calvinist. And so in a strange way, this is actually a seed for a huge part of American culture, which is, the rich are wonderful and the poor suck and are terrible people.
Also, I don't know
And
if other international viewers know this, but like American worth ethic is like embedded into our culture to where
yeah,
it is what you gain value from your not necessarily your success, but just your how hard you're working at something, which I've heard it's very unusual for other countries when they hear Americans talking to each other. Like if I were to meet you for the first time, one of the first things that comes up in conversation is, what do you do for work? Which is apparently not common in other places in the world.
yeah. I mean, because I think a lot of people don't necessarily get their identity from their job in the rest of the world.
Right.
But we definitely do. Um, so those Puritans thought they were going to come to Massachusetts, the Massachusetts Bay Colony, and they were going to set up a shining beacon, an example for the world, so that the world would come to see that they had Christ's message correct. And the way that would manifest then was they would create the city of Boston and they would become filthy rich, right? Because if the rich go to heaven and they're doing it right and they figured Jesus Christ out, then clearly this is the path that they need to take. And so they arrived, they set up Boston, they and you know
말보다는 행동이지.
Fifteen.
they're making it. They're not getting filthy rich, but the city is growing. It's a productive place. It's prosperous enough. But the problem is they start getting ambitious. So they go, what is a, a shortcut way we can prove to everybody that we've got the message? And the answer was to convert the Native American population to their religion. So they had been talking to the Wampanoag, and the leader of them talking, you know, they're making it. They're not getting filthy rich, but the city is growing. It's a productive place. It's prosperous enough. But the problem is they start getting ambitious. So they go, what is a shortcut way we can prove to everybody that we've got the message? And the answer was to convert the Native American population to their religion. So they had been talking to the Wampanoag, and the leader of them was a guy named Massasoit. And for whatever reason, they told Massasoit about Alexander the Great and his father, King Philip. And Massasoit really liked the story, like so much so that he gave his sons two names, a Native American name, and then Alexander, and then Philip. And they, and that's how the colonists would then know the two sons were by Alexander and Philip. Um, and they made a trade deal, and part of the deal was that the Puritans would be allowed to try to convert the Wampanoag. And Massasoit said, "Yeah, I'm okay with that. Go for it." So they began the process of conversion, and they would go to Native American villages, and as people were converted, they would move them to a new location, and they would build an English-style village in the new location. And they would put the Native Americans in English dress. They would teach them English skill set. They turn them into carpenters and masons and coopers and
So this wasn't just purely religious conversion. This was assimilation into English culture entirely.
exactly, yeah. They were like the Borg, and you will be assimilated. Resistance is futile. So they train them to be to have these different jobs, and they're living in English houses. They have a bakery and a mill, and right, all the stuff gets set up for them. But the clergy is a Puritan, an English Puritan, and then the people in the village are Native Americans. And the thinking that they have is once the Wampanoag become filthy rich, then everybody will realize, oh my God, even these savages, once they hear Jesus's message, the Puritan version, even these savages have prospered. This really must be the right answer. And after a few years, what they found instead was that the Wampanoag who had converted to Puritanism were alcoholics. And they were literally laying in the streets in their own vomit. And so here's a myth that Americans have that
I
they
mean,
love to.
if you've totally stripped someone of their identity and their past and their culture and their traditions and their family, and then expect them to just be great human beings and no mental health issues. I mean,
Yeah.
but what's interesting is, so like this is common today. If you look at like Christian evangelism and the like, it is like the new type of like work, which they will never say. So like it's one of the things they like Protestants have against Catholics, is that like it's all about works, which is like the Calvinist kind of mindset. Like you don't get to heaven or to Jesus through working, even though that's all.
I mean, anything's fine at this point. The top level isn't really that sensitive. Dokubi's not bad because roam clear is useful up there. So what I intend to do is put cameras up and go a little bit slowly. There's a Legion. I'm not gonna jump in. I'm 0. Although there is a blitz, so he might jump in.
Yeah, I'm the Ash. I'm thinking they're going to, so
Okay. I'll try to support.
I'm gonna play dope because they got the cap.
Yeah, fair enough. I was just playing against 2 of them last match. They got absolutely slaughtered.
Which ones?
The ones with 6-7 in the game.
Oh, of course.
To be fair, it wasn't their fault.
All too well.
Nice job.
Cab
And-
downstairs.
Interrogation coming. Green stick.
Right on my body. Get there, 0.
Well, almost. I tried to kill you, actually. Green stairs.
One's in hunting.
I'm gonna
One
call.
over library. One's library. Back in hunting. One's library going into hunting again.
Swapping mags.
Hunting.
Hacking cams.
Thank you. Ooh, they have a Valkyrie.
Calling.
Hard pressing.
On objective, I think. 2 ping, hunting hall.
Right on 5 ping, swinging right now on the double door.
Other one's meeting.
Striker, I'll let you know when they play that single door on ping.
We're watching that door. You're good for now.
Just go fight meeting.
He's heading east.
Watch this door. To your left, yeah, or yeah, right here.
Nice job.
Last meeting.
Good plant. It's to your east. We have eyes on hunting hall to your north.
He's in the objective. I think we'll hear him defusing.
Yeah, just play time.
Yeah, we have so many cams.
He's an idiot. He's C4ing.
Nice
Nice
job.
shit.
Hey, Ethics, the Dokkaebi play was actually great. Because the Valcams.
Yeah, I try to read what they're playing, but also what my team's doing.
Well, good call on that. And also, obviously, the plant was great. That Ella was kind of a problem, or Cav, maybe? I mean, Cav wasn't great, but she did get one interrogation. She should have just killed and then run. Same spot. They're doing a Thorn Goyle play.
I'll be taking care of that.
Thank you. I can also pop the Goyles with the 0 cam if I get in the right spot.
They've got someone roaming, probably spawn peeking first floor.
Heard, thanks. We got one hunting hall 2 ping, that's Bandit. Bandit hunting hall.
Reloading.
Hey, Velcam again, nice. Azami is admin, she's in admin. I took out one of the.
We might be able to
traps.
plant on the blitz.
Bandit 2 ping. Striker, Bandit's on you.
Yo, hop in and plant.
Striker,
Hold
2
me,
ping
hold
is
me,
Bandit.
hold me.
Bandit hunting hall.
One's in meeting on that rotate.
I got window C forward. I got window C forward. We just gotta live.
Bandit admin. She run out, run out.
Suck, bro.
Nice.
Nice.
We have eyes on diffuser. Don't peek.
Just
it,
let me
we can
know.
see. I will. Pushing up from the west. Run. Diffusing now. 2
Defusing.
ping.
Defusing.
To
Still defusing. Go jump in now. You have time. Jump in. Jump in.
Jump,
what are you
jump.
doing? Oh, fuck.
My bad. I thought he was gonna cancel, bro.
No, you're good. You're good. You just made us nervous because we weren't seeing your perspective.
Oh yeah, I was watching the cam. I didn't know if
Yeah,
you
me
had an
too.
angle on him or not.
I just am expecting him to cancel out of instinct. I don't fucking know.
Totally, totally.
I don't
love
think we
that we're
should ban
taking these.
Valk if we keep Bravo.
Well, to be fair, like they've chosen her twice. we've
Honestly,
taken
fuck this bitch.
I mean, listen, we've been using their cans better than they have, but I just don't know if we can do that every time.
Yeah, fair enough.
But the Brava cam take was good. Same with the Dokkaebi cam take. Their bandit was very aggressive. He got at least 2 kills that round, and he was playing the entrances patiently, but like aggressively, meaning not jumping out, but ready for us to jump in.
I think they're kitchen. No, I'm wrong.
Okay. Make sure not to rush in because that Goyo, we can pop those from a distance.
Can someone, Twitch, can you get these bandits on 4 ping?
I might be
It'll
able
be
to.
a minute, but yeah.
Yeah, no rush, let me know.
I'll make my way around as well. I can go through the wall.
No one in that room.
I only got one.
That'll do.
You don't have another drone?
I could try, but I have to sort of get in the room. Nope, Avruni is holding archive door. Avruni 2 ping left of the bear logic. Left of the door ethics.
I'm so sorry.
We got one in that little closet.
I'm
on,
breaching this bitch.
2 ping. Dude, ethics, you're gonna have someone directly across. And 2 ping. He's holding the angle that was just
I might be
breached.
able to go plant here. I have a smoke once this Goyo dies out. They have 1 C4 possible.
Bandits holding the breach. 2 pings live. Peeking.
Dude.
Still alive. Last man 2 ping. He's holding a static angle on Bear Logic. Alchemist, can you flank? He's trapped. He can't go
Put a
anywhere.
nomad on the door.
Nice job, Nomad.
You guys are crazy. Good callouts too.
That flank is exactly what we needed. Sorry I couldn't get those bandit traps for you.
All good. Hard ones to get with the Twitch, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, I was the 0, but it's hard for that too.
Oh yeah.
But theoretically, it's easier with 0 because he's got more chances at it, right? He's got like 5 or 6 of those things.
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like a shield to the west.
Loading new magazine.
Northwest corner, top floor, across from Frost. Frost, watch your north. Frost, watch your north. Your back
One's
is
in hunting. 2 in hunting south. One's on 5 ping.
Thank you, Herd. Frost on me. Close to you.
That's Blackbeard dead.
Not your fault.
Damn.
Buck
What?
west in hunting. Two ping, Grim, coming from the east. He's gonna have to go through statue, I think.
We got an issue. Get off the cave.
He's at the Maestro Cam and Painting Gallery. One out to the west, two ping, lying down. That's Ram on the west. And one two ping. They're both B site now. Well, 2 of 3. Sorry, I lost track of the count. They had Buck, they had Grim, what else?
Blackbeard.
I don't mind banning Brava. She's annoying. It seemed like the Denari was helpful from what I saw.
Was it?
Well, I saw the Buck get hit by it.
By the time
mean-
I peeked it, they were like all fucking gone, but I'm hoping it at least stalled them a bit or something.
It stalled them when they went into hunting.
We should
hall.
get
I
a
mean,
Mew, Goyo, Malusi. Maybe.
You should get an Aruni. Aruni because
Get
we
a
don't
heal.
have Brava. Yeah, nice.
Maybe a fucking Doc or. I don't know. Yeah, that's a good setup. What we got. I'll play underneath.
Okay.
They didn't even play Windows from what I saw. They were just getting in.
Yeah, they just came in on the.
Where'd they come from?
northwest.
Some from hunting?
Northwest, yeah, hunting. At least 2 of them did. I think Grim came in from the clock hall. Which was the first floor. I think he was the first floor. They're in first floor mudroom, southwest corner, first floor.
They're getting breach right now.
That's a Buck down. That's their top frag.
Good
Rendezvous
shit.
on bomb. Where's the bomb?
I think there was another first floor, but I'm not sure.
Oh, what? Green stairs. That's
Green stairs heard.
Yeah, they're all pushing that way. They're trying to push the B site.
Him. 2 ping. He's lit. That's B site. Good job, Alchemist. Nice. Last man outside? Or south? Balcony? Maybe? Good job. Nice. Way to
Scared the shit out of me.
Way to go, guys. This is a solid match.
They tend to do is work. They're checking off those boxes like, let's convert, let's spread,
Yes.
you know, let's get people to Jesus. And anyway, it's so interesting to that happened like right off the get-go, and it's super strong in American culture today.
It's very strong. Yeah. So there's a myth that people have, and that is that the American Indian population is missing a gene, and that gene creates alcohol tolerance. So that's dumb. There's no such thing. This is just one of those dumb myths. Our species has been doing alcohol for at least 20 million years, and Homo sapiens sapiens is only 450,000 years old. So we were doing alcohol when we were monkeys. Monkeys have figured out that if you let a fruit ripen and then over ripen, you don't eat it when it's ripe. You wait till it gets rotten, you will get alcohol out of it. And they will wait till it rots, and they will go over and they will eat these fruits, and they will get into drunken brawls, and they will fall out of trees, and they have a great party. So at least 20 million years.
You can look up
The
these
Native
videos on
Americans-
YouTube. They do it to this day. It is
Yes.
entertaining to watch.
It is. They are so human. It is bizarre. Yeah. So the Native Americans had alcohol. You know, every nation had a different relationship to alcohol, but most of them had a corn hash that they made. The Aztecs had 17 different versions of alcoholic beverages that they made. So this idea that somehow the Native American population didn't know alcohol is just beyond stupid. In any case, the Puritans now had a problem because the Wampanoag were prosperous. They converted them. They became alcoholics and their villages fell apart. And so it looked,
I have a quick question.
yeah.
Did we introduce depression?
Yeah,
Like-
we introduced depression to Native Americans, not
I feel like
alcohol. Yeah.
We've like taken everything. I said like not taken everything because like to some extent there was some sort of agreement, even though if it was a bad sale. But the dreary clothing, you've lost all the fun. You've lost all the color in your life. You're gonna be in a building doing this one thing because that's what we've done. So they're depressed. They're drinking. They're
They're
medicating.
depressed. They're medicating. And then of course it shows that clearly they don't have Jesus's answer. At least that's how they interpret it, right? And so what do you do in that circumstance? And the answer is really clear. You destroy the evidence.
No.
So what what happened was after Massasoit died, his son Alexander took over. I think his name was Wamsuta, but don't quote me on that. Kind of their fanaticism.
Who are the Indians that we're talking about? Because that's a very generalized term.
So the Pilgrims were a sect of Puritans who were more fanatic than the typical Puritans. Most Puritans were relatively laid back compared to the Pilgrims. The Pilgrims believed that any type of expression of joy was Satan's trap, and he was trying to bring you into sin. And so they didn't believe that they could have laughter or dance or music. And so, obviously those things are things that most people like to have around them. And they also despised color because they thought that color caused you to have the sensation of pleasure. And then that was, of course, Satan again. So they dressed in black with white trim. Think about how hard it was to have black and white clothing in the 1600s. Like the way you made black, you took a dye like blue dye and you just kept putting it on until it became so dark. Well, that's a lot of blue dye. That's very expensive. And every time you wash it, some of that blue dye washes away. And then white, of course, they didn't have Clorox. So keeping their clothing black and white was a real struggle. And as a result, it showed kind of their fanaticism and hatred of color. So the English did the proper thing, which was expel them. They kicked them out of England. And they went to the Netherlands, and shockingly, England is renowned for being kind of dreary and people are super stoic. So that at some level, you would think that they would have gotten along with the Pilgrims. But the Dutch got along better because the Dutch are even more stoic. But at the end of the day, they weren't really excited about them either. What happened was in 1607, Jamestown was established, obviously. And then a few years later, John Rolfe figured out a way to cure tobacco and make it commercially accessible because up until then, it was too hard to smoke it. So even though it's a narcotic and it's addictive, people could resist the addiction because the coughing fits that it created. And Rolfe figured out a way to make it smooth enough you could smoke regularly and not cough all the time. And he, of course, explained to the English that the value of this for the Virginia colony. But the really cool thing about that was that the English had already had, by this time, about 25 years of experience with tobacco. Because, right, Sir Walter Raleigh had already brought tobacco to England, and doctors were already talking about that tobacco lowered your life expectancy, made you sick regularly, that you spent a lot of time coughing, that there was no redeeming quality to it. So when Rolfe does this, the English have a choice. They can make the Virginia colony rich, or at least financially produce something that the English can sell and make money off of, and kill people with an addictive narcotic because they already knew that's what it was, or they could just take the ethical position and walk away. And they chose, of course, option A, which is when England created the world's first ever drug dealer empire. And so before we actually get into the Pilgrims even further, we should talk about the first ever Thanksgiving in North America. And it wasn't done by the Pilgrims. It was actually done by the Jamestown colony. And what the Jamestown colony, the Jamestown colony would actually invite the neighboring Native Americans over, the Powhatan, and they would use this as they would eat together, and then they would use it as an opportunity to exchange goods. So it was sort of a trading event. And according to the English, and I think the year was 1622, I didn't look this up before getting online. According to the English, the Powhatan had come in with tomahawks hidden on their body. Massasoit died, his son Alexander took over. I think his name was Wamsuta, but don't quote me on that. I probably totally screwed that up. We should probably look it up actually. And I think his brother's name was Metacomet. And that one I might be right about because my mnemonic device for it is he's above the comet because he's a metacomet. But we should look that up too. That's
Wemsuta.
fine. You destroy the evidence.
No.
So what happened was after Massasoit died, his son Alexander took over. I think his name was Wamsuta, but don't quote me on that. I probably totally screwed that up. We should probably look it up actually. And I think his brother's name was Metacomet. And that one I might be right about because my mnemonic device for it is he's above the comet because he's a metacomet. But we should look that up too. That's
Wemsuta,
probably
known
wrong.
as Alexander.
Yeah, okay. Can you look up metacomet too, just to make sure I'm on the right track? So what the English settlers do is they poison Alexander and kill him. And the reason they do this is they want to trigger a war.
You're right.
And they do.
Yeah, you're right with both names.
Okay. Metacomet, also known as Philip, when he realizes the English have poisoned his brother, attacks the Puritans. And that's what they wanted. They got their war. And then, of course, the English government responds by sending in the military, and they massacre the Wampanoag. It is a disaster for them. And then they drive them off of most of their traditional, I don't know if it's most, but they drive them off a big chunk of their traditional land and take it over for their own purposes, but also in the process, they get rid of the evidence. They get rid of the fact that turning them into Puritans didn't make them rich.
So this is not a happy ending.
No. That war is called King Philip's War.
King Philip's War. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that said, that all happening, which is, I guess,
By the way,
one
that
of
was
many-
after 50 years of peace, I should point out.
Okay. So
this
do you-
wasn't
do you
quick.
think-
It was a
do you think
half
50
century of peace.
Yeah, that's long enough to really establish a tradition, I suppose. So do you think
Yeah.
it carried on? Do you think this idea of like a celebratory meal carried on even after this war? Because it's still here today.
Yeah.
We're celebrating it today.
Yeah, it's
new magazine. Reloading.
it's a lot like Columbus Day. It's really a celebration of the settler colonial project. It's not a celebration of Native Americans. It's a celebration of the beginning of the genocide, because tied to both the northern tradition and the southern tradition are these two genocidal events. The Thanksgiving Day massacre, which is what the English called what they claimed happened to them. But in reality, what it was is what the English did to the Powhatan. And then the King Philip's War, which was, by design, an attempt to massacre the Wampanoag.
So do you think it's this holiday still exists for the same reason that Columbus Day still exists, just for tradition's sake, or for political sake, or our own Anglo culture, American culture?
Look, every civilization needs to have stories that glue it together. And the United States has a problem because its stories are so horribly unethical. Like, what we do to the Native American population, and then what we do to the Africans that we bring over as slaves, I don't see how that's any different than what Hitler did to Poland and the Ukraine and Russia. And so I'm trying to figure out in my mind, okay, if Hitler was a bad guy, then how are we not a bad guy? And the only thing I can figure is Hitler killed white people and we killed brown and black people. And so that makes it okay for us, but it was bad for Hitler because literally 99% of Hitler's victims were white. And I guess it depends on if you count the Roma as white, but
And even then, it took the world
98% were white.
quite a while
was
to
that?
do anything about it.
It took the world a while to do anything about what Hitler was doing.
Yes,
Yeah.
people, there was a lot of anti-Semitism in Europe, as we've talked about before. So it's just kind of like, well, we'll see if it's true or not. But yes, I think in the U.S., the differences between, because like we didn't, I say we, early settlers didn't see the native population, and then later Africans, black slaves, as human beings. Even when we said, okay, they're human beings, but they're only 3/5 of a human being. It took us so long to consider people that didn't look like us, or the other, the them. Same thing with women. Like it's only been a little over 100 years before we're like, I guess they can say stuff. But it is pretty wild. Also, like in the United States and America in general, like we don't have much of a history, and so our stories don't stretch back. So we don't have a balance between like all of the really epic and good things to go against the really horrific things. I mean, like I guess we use George Washington and like the American Revolution and different like impossible battles that like we've gained our freedom and our liberty. We hold on to that so tightly here because we don't want to look at all of the dark things.
Yeah, I agree. There's a fantastic SNL skit where Washington's talking to a group of men and one of them's black, and he asks Washington, "What'll happen to black people after the revolution?" And Washington ignores him and just keeps going on.
Oh man!
And we will have a mile, and it will be 5,280 feet. So I think one of the reasons we've held on to the Thanksgiving story is it's part of an attempt to create a mythical system, like to explain, establish our founding, and then it's also a great opportunity to bring that uncle that nobody likes to be around and have him say really horrible, atrocious things and shock everybody. And then hate him for the next year until you see him again, and then you can have it reinforced. And so I think there was that aspect of it. It's a sort of an excuse to overeat and overdrink, and then of course we added football to it, and so it's perfect.
So
sounds like. Reload. Boosting.
You can watch
Over the past 100 years, how has it evolved into what it is like today? Because it's all about like we get together, we eat too much. Football's playing like whatever the special Thanksgiving Day game is, American football,
it.
and then
it
and
really,
then
really-
Black Friday. So now it's like it's turned into
Yeah.
this the marker of a big beginning of like the shopping extravaganza.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know if this happened frequently as a kid. It maybe only happened once, but I feel like, and maybe I'm even hallucinating. Maybe it never happened. I feel like the Thanksgiving football game was the Dallas Cowboys and the Washington Redskins. I know I'm probably wrong, but it seems like that was right. When I was a kid, we did the pageants. I mean, I know that they probably still do this, where they would have the Thanksgiving Day pageant where the kids would play Pilgrims and they would play American Indians and we were lined up, and the darkest kids became American Indians and the lightest kids became
Oh.
Pilgrims. Yeah,
Roy, no.
yeah, that's what we did. At least 1 year, I remember that happening. I don't think I remember doing it 1 year. I think that was the only time. And then I remember I was absent because I got pleurisy, so I missed a lot of the rehearsals. So I got demoted because I was actually a pilgrim, and I got demoted from a pilgrim that had a speaking line to a pilgrim who was just chopping trees. And I was so bitter because all I did the whole time was.
I think we we did the same thing. They didn't not that I remember arrange us into, the darker the kid, although it was probably just us white kids. I went to a school called Whiteside Elementary, so I don't know if that's
Right?
no, yeah.
The rival school was Blackside Elementary.
I have to look and see if that seems too on the nose. Oh boy. But yeah, we would definitely make, our pilgrim, like construction paper hats with the little buckle and stuff, and then we'd make our little headdresses to be the Indians and I don't know if we sang or we just like told the story of, oh no, we don't have any food. Oh, you have some food?
Yeah.
Let's, and it was like this
Yeah.
joyous thing.
Hi, I'm Squanto.
I don't know if I don't think we use any like, I'm a pilgrim, I'm an Indian. Yeah, it's so long ago.
Yeah.
And it's so funny, those things. So this is all education for children, right? That stuff sticks with us forever.
Yeah.
And
That's the
until
goal.
someone says, hey, that's not what
It's
happened.
not as good as you think.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
We have so many things in our brain that we just don't know about, that are just stuck with us until it contradicts something else, and we have to confront it and critically analyze it and go, oh man, I've been believing that for my entire life. There's a comedian whose dad told him that, he's like, did you know Tommy Lee Jones is gay? And he goes, and he told everyone that for 10 years until someone said, no, he's not. And they're like, yeah, he is. And he's like, I've known him my entire life. Tommy Lee Jones is not gay. I know his family, his like everything. Who told you he's gay? And he's like, my dad did. It's like, this is so like the things that we just pick up on as kids. That's just like, this is not. Oh boy. So yeah, it's interesting
true.
yeah. What's fascinating to me about Thanksgiving is that even though it has this rough history that is obviously one-sided in how we represent it today, it's still this kind of idea of being grateful, of gratitude, being thankful for things in our life. And I'm sure that's possibly one-sided, but that's a positive thing, right?
Yeah.
So even
We
with
should be grateful. The
so,
greatest country ever stolen.
so like how do you think that idea of gratitude and gratefulness has become like the idea of this holiday? Do you think that's just something that we tried to put a positive spin on, or is it an actual good thing, or should we be more realistic with it?
I mean, so, I mean, the question of questions is, I guess this is the question of questions. How do we reconcile our past? How do we make this moment here now somehow make sense and be okay with it? Because right, it's not like the Native Americans have been exterminated. There's still a huge American Indian population. There were, 1.3, 1.4% of the United States, according to the last census. And their population as a percentage of the country is growing, not shrinking. So there's numerical rebound. And then, the majority of the Central American and Mexican population that moves to the United States is also Native American, which is probably the main reason why there's so much anti-brown hatred that gets heaped on Mexican and Central Americans coming into the United States, because it's like, in a way, they're almost unconquering us, right? The Hispanic population in the United States is 19%. And, probably genetically speaking, 80% of that is Native American. And so, it's like if you add that 16% from the Hispanic population plus the 1.4, all of a sudden there's 17% of the United States is actually from North or South America and isn't settler colonial. And then throw in the 13.5% that's Black. And, that's almost a third of the United States that's either not immigrant or settler colonial. So at some level, I think we're stuck. And that's one of the reasons why we've seen the rise of the right in the United States, is there's a percentage of the population that just doesn't want to deal with the fact that their great-grandparents were just freaking evil. There's no two ways to put it, right? And you might not be evil, but that doesn't mean your great-grandparents didn't do something really freaking nasty. Like, imagine Hitler had won World War II, and you grew up in what used to be Ukraine, but now has been turned into a German colony and probably renamed. And the native Ukrainian population was turned into basically a slave population that's farming. And you realize, oh my God, all the wealth I've inherited, all the privilege I've inherited, all the benefits, the land I live on was procured through genocide. How do you reconcile that in your mind? How do you make that make sense? And a good portion of the population is going to go flying to the right, because the right offers such a simplistic view of the world, such a like, we had God on our side. We were doing the right thing. We were making the land useful. The Native Americans didn't, they fought each other too. We were just another group of people who showed up, as opposed to really seeing what happened, which was we were a white horde in the same way the Mongols were a horde. We overwhelmed the place numerically and with military power, and we trampled them under, just like the Mongols did to the Middle East and Russia. And we don't see it that way. We see it as this sort of heroic, like, oh, it was us against the frontier. And what do you mean us against the front? What is the frontier? Well, the frontier was the American population. We've couched it as if it was us against trees and us against mountains. And, we were taming a land because it was this wild land. It was so unwild that not far from where the Wampanoag were was the Iroquois Confederacy. And the Iroquois Confederacy was a democracy. It had 6 nations as members. One of them joined because of as the English were genociding, they came, and there was 5 nations originally, and they added the Tuscarora because they needed help. And they literally carved out a chunk of land and they said, here, this will be for you. And the Tuscarora then got integrated into the Iroquois Confederacy. They had a constitution. They weren't just a democracy, they had a constitution. They had 2 houses. They had 2 legislatures. The lower house was made up strictly of women, and they came from the clans as opposed to the nations, because there were 6 nations, and I think there was, I don't remember how many clans. I don't want to guess. And the women legislature made all the domestic decisions. So the economic decisions, the decisions on where people should live and how they should live, those types of choices were made by that legislature. And then that legislature voted for the Senate, or their equivalent of the Senate, and it was made of 50 members, and they were all men, and the men were in charge of international relations. And the way the Iroquois saw it was the men should be, because they're the ones who are going to go off to war and fight. So if the international relations fall apart, they're the ones who are going to pay the price. So they need to be in charge of it. And they had this elegant system that was anything but savage. It was this brilliant, and they were the most, in many ways, the most developed of the Native American populations in that area. But all of them were these elegant civilizations. They were
changing. Throwing smoke grenade. Changing magazine.
in many ways the most developed of the Native American populations in that area. But all of them were these elegant civilizations. They were civilizations. They had laws, they had farming. And one of the great twists in the United States that Americans tell themselves is one of the reasons it was okay to do this is the Native Americans didn't know how to farm, so they didn't know how to use the land. And so we came and we taught them farming, and we turned the land into. And you're like, dude, you can hold the Pilgrim story and the fact that Native Americans farm in your head at the same time, and it makes sense. You've never noticed that the two contradict each other? Like doublethink has been with us
Yeah.
for centuries.
What's interesting is
Not
one of the tenets of like Calvinism is the principles of their farming is to completely like wreck the land. Like
Yeah.
they believe that you like in Genesis we're like this is misconstrued, but like you're to strip the land of all of its value, and including farming, which is like that's how you ruin soil, that's how you lose crop rotation. Like you can't grow food in land like that, which you see a lot in the South to this day, where it's just like fields of dust, or there's a canyon in Georgia that's not supposed to be there, but it's just erosion from poorly farmed fields over generations.
Wow.
But it's so the idea that they knew how to farm better is it's so interesting. But yes, like holding one idea and the other which contradict each other. It's just like while you're talking, like the idea of privilege is completely counter to the idea of work for value. So like
Yeah.
the pilgrims were like that we have to work and do all these things and become wealthy and convert, and which is the opposite of privilege. So I think like that has evolved in American culture to where privilege is it in a weird way reduces our value because we haven't worked for it. And that's really hard for so many people to come to terms with, instead of just being like, one, grateful, which is, Thanksgiving, like, I'm grateful. Like, it's okay to have privilege as long as you acknowledge it and understand its possible consequences. And then maybe once you know about something, you can do something about it. So to have privilege means maybe you can make amends for past generations, or just come to terms with it yourself that, hey, my ancestors weren't so great.
Yeah.
When my ancestors came from Scotland, they were criminals. They were they were tax evaders, so that's not the worst kind of criminal in terms of, you know, going against the English king at the time. But it's, you know, we all have rough patches in our past, but we should want to be. You've talked about this before. It's a miracle that any of us exist. That
It totally
us
is.
specifically, if you go and look at, so many things could happen in our lives that
Yeah.
that we shouldn't be here.
No.
It's ridiculous. So I think
It's-
that in
it's
of itself is a
ridiculous.
privilege. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, full disclosure, my earliest ancestors in the United States came over in the 1890s from the Russian Empire. They were Swedes from Finland. The Russian Empire owned Finland at that time. And they crossed the prairie on prairie schooner. They were one of the last families to do so, and they went to Wyoming. They were settler colonists going to Wyoming. And then subsequent to that, you know, my great grandfather came over as an immigrant and ended up in Michigan. And then my mother is an immigrant. So, you know, I have a settler colonial ancestor, and then I have immigrant ancestors after that. But, you know, at the end of the day, even if you're an immigrant and not a settler colonialist, settler colonist, you still benefit from the settler colonial project that took place. So the differential between the two is really thin. And at some level, it doesn't matter if you just got off the boat or you got off the boat 400 years ago. You really do owe something to that past, especially because the African American community and the Native American community are still around, and they've never had any type of meaningful redress. There's never been any mitigation. No, and because of trauma goes on from generation to generation, and then, you know, Native Americans have been isolated in reservations, which were prison camps, to be clear. Like this, they're not necessarily that anymore, obviously, but they definitely were. And so to not address that past, I think is really it's a terrible mistake, because it means nobody can heal. For the record, one state in the United States has attempted to address that past, and it's the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is amazing because, right, that's the first colony. That's where it all started. The year in my head is 2008, but I also have the year 2006. It was somewhere around there. The Republican-dominated legislature, because today it's a blue state, but in 2006, 2008, it was still red. It was purpling at that point. And the Republican governor passed legislation, and it was bipartisan. The Democrats helped draft it and voted for it. They passed legislation apologizing for the genocide of Native Americans and for African slavery. So the Commonwealth of Virginia has taken the brave step of actually making, right, 12-step program, you have to apologize. I mean, it's just that simple. And they started the process, and then nobody followed through. Republican government, today it's a blue state, but the first passed, and it's the Commonwealth of Virginia, which is amazing because, right, that's the first colony. That's where it all started. The year in my head is 2008, but I also have the year 2006. It was somewhere around there. The Republican-dominated legislature, because today it's a blue state, but in 2006, 2008, it was still red. It was purpling at that point. And the Republican governor passed legislation, and it was bipartisan. The Democrats helped draft it and voted for it. They passed legislation
Well, what is that noise you make?
Changing magazine.
Oh, one ping. A Rooney. Where is she?
apologizing for the genocide of Native Americans and for African slavery. So the Commonwealth of Virginia has taken the brave step of actually making, right, 12-step program, you have to apologize. I mean, it's just that simple. And they started the process and then nobody followed through. So everybody kept saying, well, you'll get sued. And I'm trying to see where the Commonwealth of Virginia is getting sued.
We are a very litigious culture as well.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you'll get sued for what? For apologizing? And the answer was they thought it would be admitting guilt.
Yes, that's we're also taught here, corporately, like, never, if you've done something wrong, never admit guilt. We see so many like horrific accidents here, and the obvious party responsible will never admit guilt. And it's,
Yeah.
I feel like that would be such a huge way to just be like, hey, we're so sorry this happened. We made a mistake. That heals, that does so much healing. I don't think people fully appreciate what a sincere apology is, and seeking forgiveness, and just those sort of very human, like, we teach our kids this thing, like, hey, you hurt someone, like, you have to go and check on them and make sure that they're okay, and tell them that I didn't actually mean to hurt you, and that sort of thing. Because the otherwise, like, the implication that we root into our psyche is that, like, these people are trying to hurt us.
Yeah.
So if we repress that kind of generational trauma, which it seems like we have been doing because no one wants to face it, then it's very hard to heal from that.
You know how you're driving in Houston and there's 2 lanes and there's somebody turn left. So they've caused a traffic jam in the left-hand lane and you're in the right-hand lane. As you're approaching, you always slow down because there's always some jerk who will just come flying out of that lane to get in the right-hand lane. And one time, I'm going down and I'm slowing down because I know somebody's going to do it. And I pass them and then the guy goes. So if he had just turned his head, he would have seen me, and he slammed into the driver's door on my car. And he hit me so hard, like, I don't know how he accelerated this fast. He broke his front right wheel. Like, it broke and went underneath. You're like, what the heck? So the cop comes, of course, and he writes the guy a ticket because it's so obvious he slammed into me. And he's the whole time going, I don't know where that guy came. He came out of nowhere. He must have been speeding. And then he was like, he hit me. And the cop's like, no, it's not. How, you mean he went sideways? You're like, how is this mother? And he kept insisting to the insurance company that it was my fault. And his insurance company couldn't wait for it to be my fault. So they actually kept messing up my insurance claim. And, like, what did he get out of that? Because in the end, they had to pay. He just delayed it, and my ability to get a rental car is what it worked out to.
Sometimes just being
I feel like that's the United States.
The squeaky wheel works. From your perspective, Roy, what is the most meaningful way to understand or celebrate Thanksgiving today?
Well, for about, let's see how long, about 30 years, I've been saying happy Thanksgiving. I don't know. So, like, I've made the attempt to just keep it as an opportunity to get together with people. There was a neighbor family that every year we would get together with them, and I'm a very political person, obviously, and I'm always the guy that likes to throw hand grenades in a room and then close the door and wait to see what happens. And so, I've often, in the past, I would use it as an opportunity to say something political as well. But I sort of got tired of doing that because I just felt like it wasn't going anywhere and it didn't do anything meaningful. And I think that screaming, shouting argument that you have with your irritating uncle who says obscene things doesn't help the world any either. So I don't know is my answer. One thing that you could do that I think is worth doing is doing research on Native American culture and figuring out what's there, and then to the extent to which you can, supporting Native American culture. So, for example, there was a law in the United States where, in the event of a criminal case, Native American police could handle it unless it was rape or murder. If it was rape or murder, it had to be handled by the FBI. Well, the FBI, which is supposedly, investigating terrorism and organized crime, doesn't really have the resources to investigate rape on a Native American reservation, and doesn't really want to investigate murder on a Native American reservation or have the resources to do it either. And so, as a general rule, the FBI just ignored those rape and murder cases. And the result has been that, rape on Native American reservations is through the roof. And then what happened was, when we updated VAWA, Violence Against Women Act, I don't remember the year,
Yo, can you guys hear me now? Yo, guys, the bomb is Uptown Funk. Main entrance. Yo, Legion, watch out, they're coming! They're rappelling up! Behind you! They don't know I'm here, they don't know I'm here. Oh my...
I want to say like 2012, but I'm sure I'm wrong. When we did the update, then we made it so that Native American police could investigate rape, but not murder. That was still the